Oil prices are crashing everywhere in the news. Brent crude has fallen 35%, from $95 per barrel down to $62 in just last 18 months. But open your phone right now and check the petrol price. Delhi is still at 94.77, Mumbai is at 94.5, and Bangalore is at 100 rupees per litre. The oil price has hardly moved in last 1.5 years. So the question everybody is asking is simple. Why doesn't our petrol price move with every rise and fall of global oil anymore? The answer is that keeping pump prices stable has now become a deliberate government policy. Let's break it down with numbers you can actually feel in your pocket. 10 years ago, the rule was very clear. If global oil went up by $10, our petrol prices moved 6 to 8 rupees within 10 days. Everyone felt it immediately. Today, the picture is completely different. Global oil has fallen $33 in last 18 months, but petrol has come down only by 8 to 10 rupees, and that too very slowly. So let me break it down. First, oil marketing companies now lock in almost half of their imports months in advance at a fixed price, so daily ups and downs don't reach the pump. Second, more than 1/3 of our oil comes from Russia at a fixed heavy discount, so even when global prices crash, our cost doesn't fall as much. Third, we have now developed a very large emergency stockpile, enough to cover almost 3 weeks of consumption. So there is no panic buying or selling. And fourth, the oil companies are currently making 45 to 50 rupees profit on every liter. And they're happy to keep some of that extra profit instead of cutting pumps prices quickly. Besides these 4 reasons, there is something called as the real value of money or inflation. 60 rupees then versus 95 rupees today. Many of us remember 2014 to 2015 when petrol prices fell to 58 to 60 rupees in many cities. We used to fill double amount of petrol and roam around here and there. It felt amazing. But let me break it down with simple inflation maths. Because of inflation, rupees 60 in 2015 is equal to roughly 112 rupees today. So the 95 you're paying right now is actually cheaper in real terms than the 60 you paid 10 years ago. It might not feel so, but that is what it is. The family that was spending 4,000 a month on fuel in 2015 will need 7,500 today to buy the same amount of petrol after inflation. But today, that family might be spending around 5,500 rupees. And that's quite a saving of rupees 2,000 every month. And it's possible only because pump prices have stayed stable. And this stability is not an accident. Let me break it down. India is in the middle of biggest election cycle in this history. National elections last year, big state elections this year, and next, and another national election in 2029, and this cycle goes on. And the government and the Reserve Bank of India have one clear target. Keep the headline inflation below 5.5% at any cost, because that keeps voters happy. Fuel and electricity together have around 10% direct weight in the inflation basket, and another 20% indirect weight through transport and food. But if petrol comes down by 10 rupees, inflation falls only 0.1 to 0.15% because of the way prices move, and they move slowly. Let's talk about what's coming. On 5th December, there is an important OPEC meeting. If they keep pumping more oil, Brent can fall to $55. The oil companies will simply keep the extra profit instead of cutting pump prices quickly. But if they suddenly cut production, the Brent can jump to $75 to $80. And even then, the prices at the pumps will be delayed until after the 2025 state elections are over. But there is a risk in this policy. All this beautiful stability works only as long as nothing goes wrong in the Middle East or in the Red Sea. One serious problem and suddenly petrol can jump 15 to 20 rupees in just a few weeks when all contracts expire. So let's chart out a simple 2025 spending plan. First, enjoy the calm. Fix your monthly fuel budgets today because it's not going to change much for the next few months unless you start driving all across the world. Second, companies like Indigo, MRF, Asian Paints and logistics firms will keep making good money because their raw material stays cheap, which depends directly on oil prices. Third, use this stable period to build your EV or hybrid fund. Fourth, keep 70 to 75,000 aside in a liquid fund as an emergency pump shock buffer. Start a small monthly investments in green energy funds because the world will need less oil after 2028 and 2030. India has quietly turned petrol prices from a daily headache into a controlled policy tool. All this to keep inflation low and keep tons and tons of voters calm during this unending election season of our country. The petrol prices don't jump with every global tick anymore because the government has decided that it shouldn't. Enjoy the stability today, but also know that the days of oil at rupees 60 per litre might never come back because you're already paying rupees 55 inflation adjusted per litre. And that whatever you may feel about the current prices, the math is never wrong. So if you like this viewpoint, subscribe and comment below. We turn complicated policy into simple money decisions. So thank you for tuning in and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.